painted the room a nice color, beige color, and it's been really something. The only question is, will I gold leaf the corners? You could maybe tell me my cabinet could take a vote. You see the top line moldings, and the only question is, do you gold leaf it? Because you can't paint it. If you paint it, it won't look good because they've never found a paint that looks like gold. You see that in the Oval Office. They've tried for years and years. Somebody could become very wealthy, but they've never found a paint that looks like gold.
So that was the sitting president of the United States having what is unquestionably the worst, most disastrous cabinet meeting of his second term. And Elon Musk was nowhere to be found. Like, this one blows the Elon Musk cabinet meetings out of the water. The unhinged things that Donald Trump said during this meeting, including repeatedly threatening CNN reporters, lashing out at them, indicating that he has no idea what the hell is going on and not giving any orders with respect to the Russia-Ukraine war. This was an abject disaster. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, yeah, with all the stuff going on in the world, you think Donald Trump would have a lot more to talk about than the decor of the cabinet meeting room. But that's really the only thing Trump was really prepared to talk about at length during this meeting. In a previous video, we discussed his Jeffrey Epstein outburst, so we won't cover that here. But we do have some other clips to show you from, again, the most disastrous cabinet meeting of his second term.
But also just so tragic.
The relationship with Texas and the governor has been obviously very good for years with me, but the relationship with Texas and their first responders and us, with our first responders and lots of other people, and we brought in a lot of helicopters from all over. And we had a lot of helicopters. It was actually dangerous, a lot of helicopters up there. But they were real pros, and they were responsible for pulling out a lot of people. And we got them there fast, and Texas had some good ones too. But the response has been incredible. And the fact that we got along so well, I don't know, I don't even think that's a political thing. But we got along so well, and it was so unified. I think a lot of lives have been saved. That could have been as bad as it was, and you could have lost double or triple.
So that's Donald Trump taking a victory lap about the Texas flooding. There have at least been 100 people killed, including dozens of children, many more still missing, and he's too busy trying to sell this. Like, just imagine Joe Biden like, hell yeah, we're kicking ass there. Instead of saying like, hey, listen, we're doing everything in our power to do this, that, and the other thing, Trump is patting himself on the back. You know, I'm so amazing. This is so perfect. Just amazing. Even as hundreds of people are dead. Here's another clip.
He said, here's a line. And I hear the new line is death. Oh, it's death. Everyone's going to die. It has nothing to do with death. In fact, we're saving our country. Death is from allowing 25 million people into our country, of which 3 or 4 are stone cold, hard criminals. 11,888 are murderers, many of them committing more than one murder. That's death, and the Democrats did that. Joe Biden did that by...
Now, you'll recall, so Trump is once again talking about the number of criminals, undocumented criminals in this country. Feels like an eternity ago, but of course, as we discussed last year, many of the criminals in this country who are also undocumented immigrants came into this country not just under the Biden administration, but the Trump administration, the Obama administration, the Bush administration. It's a stat that goes back about 30 or 40 years. So Trump, again, is lying his ass off there, per usual. Here's another clip.
Hit it incredibly. And as you know, the Atomic Energy Commission said it's gone. That place is gone. We had a lot of fake reporting, mostly from CNN, where the scammer a writer for CNN, who should be fired, by the way. She was involved with the 51 fake intelligence agents, if you remember that. She did that story, created a story out of it. She created a story out of the laptop from hell, saying it came from Russia, but it actually came from Hunter Biden's bedroom, or worse. Just a scammer, and she's still at CNN, which is pretty amazing. But we'll ask you a question about her. But they came up with this concept that maybe the attack wasn't that good. Maybe it, and I saw it happen right after the...
So they didn't come up with that. That was based on a leaked intelligence report from the Defense Intelligence Agency, Trump's own Defense Intelligence Agency, which said that perhaps it wasn't as effective as Trump was saying. There's also additional evidence corroborating that as well. Intercepted communiques from Iranian officials, the UN's nuclear watchdog. They're indicating that this is not nearly as decisively damaged as Trump is saying. You also have enriched uranium, the whereabouts of which remain unknown. There's evidence indicating that it was moved. So plenty of evidence indicating that Trump is bullshitting about the efficacy of his strikes. That wasn't invented by CNN. It was based on a report that CNN got a hold of, but Trump won't let it go. Here's another clip.
Downbeat because they listened to that fake CNN reporting and the fake New York Times. They worked together to try and say that it wasn't perfect. They couldn't say they missed. All they could say is, maybe it wasn't perfect. And you ought to fire that reporter immediately. You should fire her. Real fake.
So that's the sitting president of the United States publicly demanding that CNN fire a reporter for doing her job. Of course, it's the latest in lines of a long line of attacks that Trump is making on the free press. He feels emboldened to do so. No president, President Biden, has never demanded, nor did President Obama demand the firing of Fox News reporters or Fox News personalities, even after Fox had to pay the biggest defamation settlement in American history, $787 million. Members of the Biden administration did not demand that Trump fire the various people involved. That didn't happen, but Trump is uniquely and objectively far more censorious than any Democrat. Here's another clip.
I don't know, we get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Spoiler alert, Vladimir Putin is not a good faith actor. Vladimir Putin is constantly lying and trying to flatter Trump for his own nefarious ends, and he's actually not a good faith, reliable partner, and he's been playing Trump like a dupe, and Trump finally seems to be recognizing that. Who could have predicted that except literally everybody who knows or understands Putin on any level and understands that Trump, who is much dumber and much more susceptible to flattery, would have fallen for this shit. I mean, again, it's an embarrassment how everyone around Trump, including many conservatives, were like, dude, don't do this, don't trust him, and Trump stupidly, foolhardily just trusted him anyway. It's an embarrassment. It's an indictment of Trump's judgment. Here's another clip.
They're very good. They're very good, but, they should be paying for their own military.
President Trump, I ask you a question about Jerome Powell as well, and then a question to the Attorney General. Jerome Powell, and then I have a question for the Attorney General. Jerome Powell, who you've been pressuring to lower interest rates, he's facing accusations of lying to Congress, which is a potential crime about the opulence.
Well, then he should resign immediately. We should get somebody in there that's going to lower interest rates.
Do you want congressional
Why don't
Republicans
you go for his resignation?
Do you want congressional Republicans to investigate and pursue
Okay
and punish?
with me. I think he's terrible. I think, look, we're paying, I call him too late. TOO, too late.
Yeah, but Jerome Powell won't reduce the inflation rate because of your disastrous tariff policy, which is inflationary by nature. So it's Trump's fault once again. Once again, Trump is calling for pressuring for his appointed Fed chair. He was the one who appointed Powell in the first place to resign prematurely. He's repeatedly publicly flirted with the notion of unlawfully firing Jerome Powell, and now he's apparently cheerleading Republicans launching a congressional investigation into Powell because Powell won't sycophantically lower interest rates for Trump's political benefit. Again, corrupt as hell, unlike anything we've ever seen from the Democratic Party. Here's another clip.
In the next 24 hours, will we hear a flurry of deals?
Yeah, we have a lot of them going out. But the deals are mostly my deal to them. We're picking a number that's low. We don't want to hurt them. And fair. We're picking a number that's lower than, in most cases, lower than what they charged us. But it's amazing when you've paid all this money for years and...
So, again, just total bullshit. And also, well, it is a deal. It's my deal to them. What the hell does that even mean? It's like you and I, you, audience member, and I making a deal, and that's just I tell you what's going to happen, and you don't get a choice. That's not really a deal. Trump promised bilateral trade agreements with 90 countries. He said he could get it done in 90 days. He's failed spectacularly, and now he's trying to spin his unilateral tariffs and the letters communicating those tariffs to dozens of countries as a deal so you won't hold him accountable for breaking his promise. Don't grade him on a curve. It's intellectually dishonest. It's irrational. Hold him to the same standard you'd hold any other politician to. Fact of the matter is, Trump has failed spectacularly. Here's another clip.
So they do. They're very tough, but now they're being very nice to us, and we'll see what happens. We're probably 2 days off from sending them a letter. We are talking to them. I just want you to know, a letter means a deal. You know, a lot of people say, we got 200 countries. We can't meet with 200 countries. We have a few trusted people that know what they're doing, that are doing a good job, but you can't do it. You have to do it in a more general way, but it's a very good way. It's a better way. It's a more...
So again, he's trying to move the goalposts. He's trying to change the terms, so you grade him on a curve. And he's even, what's funny is he's undercutting his own argument. Like, who the hell thought we could possibly get 90 deals in 90 days, like deals like bilateral trade deals? I mean, come on, that's impossible. Yeah, no shit, which was why we were calling you out for this in the first place when you made those commitments. So stupid, so dishonest, classic Trump. Here's another clip.
In the last jobs report, Mr. President, in the last jobs report, the manufacturing jobs actually lost 7,000 jobs. When will the investments that you've been talking about have an effect on
they're
manufacturing?
building the plants now. About 7 have started. We're going to have hundreds started within a short period of time.
Factories are being built as a consequence of President Biden's CHIPS and Science Act and the domestic federal investiture in those, the tax rebates, the tax incentives, the federal subsidies. Trump is trying to take credit for all of that. Again, classic Trump. Walk in, see something working well, slap his name on it, says he was the one who did it, disavow everything that's going wrong. Classic Trump. And unfortunately, millions of Americans will fall for that shit. Here's another clip.
Interestingly, in New England, you probably read, where for 50 years they had 2 whales washed up. 50 years. And last summer, they had 14 washed up. Now, I'm not saying that's the wind farm that was built, but maybe it is, right?
So again, so I mean, another disaster. Trump is still doing his campaign line that windmills and wind farms are killing. They're killing the whales. They're driving the whales batty. Offers no evidence whatsoever. We shouldn't even take it at face value that 14 whales have died. To the extent that marine life are dying, perhaps it could be because the oceans are heating as a consequence of climate change. Maybe that's, a reason why marine life is struggling under current conditions. But no, Donald Trump wants to blame renewable energy. Yeah, here's another clip.
Shorter, they're made by different companies. They have different stocks. They have different blades. They have different everything. It is so horrible. And if you look at smart countries, they don't use it. Smart countries don't use it. And we're now a smart country. We're a brilliant country. We're not smart. We're brilliant now. We're going to be a brilliant country. We have to be, because we have to catch up for some really stupid people that did a bad job. Yes.
He's a stupid person who not only did a bad job, is doing a bad job once again. And this is one of the reasons why Elon Musk turned on Donald Trump, because Trump is acting in a way to seed renewable energy grounds, which unfortunately, whether you like it or not, I'm sorry, they are the future. We will at the very least have a diversified energy portfolio. We will no longer, the future it is inevitable that we will not rely on fossil fuels nearly as much as we have. And Trump foolishly is ceding that ground to China. That's one of the reasons why Elon Musk turned on him. It's a calamity of his own making. Here's another clip.
We're getting along with China very well.
Mr. President, you have sent more weapons to Ukraine, as you said last night. Last week, the Pentagon paused some shipments of weapons to Ukraine. Did you approve of that pause?
We want to put defensive weapons because Putin is not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people. So we're sending some defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I've approved that.
So who ordered the pause last week?
I don't know. What did you tell me?
I think that's a question for the Pentagon.
Go ahead.
So there was, yes, an order to pause weapon shipments to Ukraine, and apparently Donald Trump had nothing to do with it, nor does he know apparently who was responsible for it. So, by the logic of MAGA criticizing the Biden administration, when Sleepy Joe was president, who was actually running the country? Well, what about Sleepy Don here, who apparently knows nothing about anything? Who's giving the orders? Was Elon Musk for a while? Is it Stephen Miller now? Who's the auto pen in the Trump administration? And will the press hound Trump the way that they hounded Biden about similar questions, which, by the way, President Biden answered nowhere near as disastrously? Here's another clip.
On farms. You had said maybe that the ISA folks won't go after those folks on farms. So which is it?
There's no amnesty. What we're doing is we're getting rid of criminals, but we are doing a work program. Do you want to explain that, please?
Yeah, this morning we talked about, of course, this was a top of mind question. This morning we talked about protecting the farmers and the farmland, but obviously this president's vision of no amnesty, mass deportation continues, but in a strategic way, and then ensuring that our farmers have the labor that they need. Secretary Chavez-DeRimmer has been a leader on this. Obviously this comes out of the Labor Department, but moving toward automation, ensuring that our farmers have that workforce, and moving toward an American workforce. So all of the above.
We've got to give the farmers the people they need, but we're not talking amnesty.
So again, total contradiction. Total contradiction. He flips flops back and forth. It's going to be no amnesty, mass deportations. It doesn't matter if you're criminal, non-criminal. If you're an undocumented immigrant, you're fair game. We're going after all of you. Then it's okay. Actually, no, we're going to go after the criminals only. You know, we got to worry about the non-violent, non-criminal, undocumented migrants who also serve, an important labor role. And then he flip-flops again. This is like the 5th time in the past 3 weeks he's flip-flopped on this issue.
Laura, do you want to say something about that?
Thank you, Mr. President. On this, thank you, Secretary Rollins, how important this is never to displace the American worker. What the Department of Labor is doing is focusing on what the law entails now, being more modernized, more streamlining to work through the H programs. We're going to have a concierge approach to that, where we have developed a new office to answer the need of our farmers and ranchers and producers, and not to displace the American worker and follow.
So again, it sure sounds like, they're going to displace undocumented workers, but instead, those vacancies will be filled by American workers. I don't. Total inconsistency, and Trump's answer depends entirely on what time of what day it is and with whom he is speaking. It is order by tweet. It's entirely possible that the Trump administration surrounding him is just like, okay, they're there, the sun downing, old man, that they're just disregarding him entirely and doing it the Stephen Miller way. I don't know to what extent Trump is actually running his government. This cabinet meeting makes it abundantly clear he has no idea what the hell he's doing, and while they may personally fear him, the way that, again, to borrow the Game of Thrones metaphor, people fear Joffrey, but Joffrey wasn't the one running the government. They just worked around him. It sure seems like that's the case here for the Trump administration. It's embarrassing. It's just genuinely embarrassing. His stupidity, his incompetence, his ignorance, his corruption are on full display. What a disastrous cabinet meeting. There you have it, folks. And we have another 3.5 years of this to go. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.